Welcome. My name is Tim Folta, and I'm the STR Division Chair for another day. Thanks so much for being here. I hope you are having a wonderful Academy of Management conference. We have several objectives at today's meeting. First, we want to update members on the status of the division, including highlighting our priorities and celebrating accomplishments over the last year. Second, it's appropriate to introduce you to colleagues joining our leadership team and express gratitude to our departing colleagues. Third, we want to share highlights from our annual conference, which still demands our considerable attention. And finally, we need to celebrate award winners. This is one of the best things we do. We all strive to be award winners, but only a select few achieve it. So let's recognize these individuals. It's been a highlight of my 30-year career to serve as an STR officer and division chair. It's also been a tremendous honor to work with my fellow officers, Heather, Michael, and Louise. On behalf of them, I want to welcome you to the STR business meeting, and we all feel privileged and grateful to work with you and for all of you. So let's begin with welcoming our new leaders into the fold, and we asked Michael Holmes to do this since he was part of the crew that managed the elections this year. So Michael Holmes, you have control.
Thank you, Tim. I'll try to advance the slide here. There we go. Okay, as STR does every year, new officers are elected, new EC members are elected, new committee members are appointed, and I have the honor of announcing those folks today. First off, the incoming assistant program chair, and for those most of you probably know, but that's a 5-year term. It's going to rotate through different officer positions in the division. Deepak Samaya from Illinois. Is the incoming assistant program chair. Also, 6 new executive committee members were elected this year. Alyssa Alvarez Garrido, Vanessa Bourbano, Donald Crilly, Maka Mohini, Tomasz Abloy, and Tony Tong. Also, new people appointed to the research committee. So it's a very large committee, as you can see, and these 12 people are joining it. So they serve a 2-year term. Kaylin Anthony, Ilgaz Arakan, John Eklund, Johanna Glauber, Cedric Gutierrez, Chang Wei Liu, Catherine Magelson, Cameron Miller, Elena Plexenkova, Luke Ree, Dmitry Sharapov, and Natalia Vinokurova. All right. We also have an awards committee and a teaching committee. The awards committee does things like select the Irwin Award, for example. The incoming members of that committee are Jay Barney, Marvin Lieberman, Will Mitchell, Brian Silverman, and Ed Zajac. Real all-star cast there. The teaching committee recently been expanded. It's been expanded because the division is doing a lot more with respect to teaching these days, not only in terms of PDWs and consortia at the conference, but also in terms of resources that are available on the STR website. So, syllabi, for example. And so as a result, we expanded the size of the teaching committee. The incoming members of that are Andrea Contigiani, Chang Gao, Marlo Ravindran, Melissa Schilling, and Maciek Workowitz. All right. And lastly, the Membership Engagement Committee. This was something that was put together a few years ago to foster, well, really membership engagement. And it was especially important, of course, like during the pandemic. And so there's new members coming onto that committee as well. First, Aldona Kapinchikiadi, Dimo Ringov, Taj Ryan Charlton, and then global representatives for various regions of the world. And 2 of those are coming on this year, Sandro Cabral and Edgar Ramirez Solis. And before I hand things back to Tim, I just get the opportunity here to say thank you to a wonderful officer team. They've been very, very busy, working very hard all year. Tim Folta, Heather Berry, Michael Leiblein, and Louise Morse. Tim, back to you, sir.
You're muted, Tim. Tim, we can't hear you.
Okay, sorry, I'm trying this remote control mute thing and it's evidently a little bit more difficult. Okay, you can hear me now, Louise?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, we want to recognize Samina, who's completing her role as an officer. What a wonderful leader she was last year when COVID hit. A fabulous example of someone rallying her colleagues when we needed her. Coretta Scott King once stated, "The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members." Thank you, Samina, for exemplifying that for us. So we add her to our impressive list of past division chairs. Let me spend a moment, give you a sense for how our division leadership is structured. As members, I think you might be interested. Here you can see the major responsibilities of the elected officers. On the far right, you can see the past division chair handles elections. Assistant program chair is responsible for pre-conference activities and conference paper awards. The program chair handles the conference program. Division chair-elect is responsible for teaching related initiatives and all major awards, not tethered to the conference. And the chair handles interactions with the AOM and the membership. They're also responsible for non-conference initiatives and any new conference initiatives. Appointed officers also report to the chair. We have 12 executive committee members, and they play an important role in approving division policy and establishing a slate of nominees for elections. They also, however, are assigned to the elected officers to help lead and coordinate initiatives. We have 24 research committee members, and they evaluate conference paper awards and the dissertation competition. If we add the rest of our committees to the structure, you can see the teaching committee and the awards committees report to the DCE, while the global reps, the membership engagement, and the communications teams report to the chair. And I'll say more about those responsibilities of those groups later. So there you have it. That's the structure that we currently have. Thanks to Paul, to Michael, to Paolo, and Bill Gahan for their invaluable service and dedication to the division. They're very capable. Please use the chat if you can to express your gratitude for their considerable service. Hey, a new secretary will take over in a few days, Dave Maslich. Welcome, Dave. Having worked with you so much during our transition over the past year, I know we're going to be in great hands. I really want us to tip our hats to Michael Holmes, who served us so capably for 10 years. And you've got lots of comments on the screen, Michael, but here's my 2 cents. Michael, in my mind, you're the epitome of a great secretary. You always seemed organized, and when needed, you demonstrate authority, flexibility, creativity, and decisiveness. And befriending you has been a highlight of my role as an officer. So thank you very much, Michael, for your service. Let me give you some updates now. We are the second largest division with nearly 30% of AOM members affiliated with us. Only 4% of our members are non-academics. About half our members are outside the US, and this is where we've seen the most growth over the last 5 years. STR membership is growing faster than all peer divisions, except Tim squeaked us out a bit. We would like to give you a sense for what we have accomplished over the past year, and we've had 3 major initiatives. The first is that we've worked hard to accelerate programming beyond the annual conference. In the past, we devoted only 5% of our effort outside the annual conference. In the future, we believe that non-conference efforts should be closer to around 50%. And we took steps this year to move in that direction. COVID really illuminated that there's so much that we can do for professional development beyond just the annual conference. We have come to realize that we are not constrained to 5 days in August. Even after COVID subsides, we need year-round professional development to improve teaching and research. How have we adapted the organization for an increased emphasis on non-conference initiatives? First, we shifted human capital. Roughly 5 out of 12 EC members were leading non-conference initiatives this year. We institutionalized the Stronger Together task force and commissioned them to focus on non-conference research initiatives. We also expanded the teaching committee from 6 to 8 to handle year-round responsibilities dedicated to enhancing teaching skills. And we asked the global reps to actively engage members and potential members in their regions with workshops. Second, we expanded the role of the responsibilities of the Membership Engagement Committee to year-round efforts to help socialize our members and build a sense of community. In a division of 6,000 members, it's so easy to get lost. So offering ways for members to connect and engage is critical. And we think this is most effectively achieved by offering a range of community building events, sometimes small events. And third, we decentralized. We're a volunteer organization. We don't have professional staff, and our leadership team has limited bandwidth. If we want to do more, we have to tap into the creativity and drive and capability of our leadership team. So while that describes how we govern, let me tell you what we did. Our Stronger Together task force was super busy. Let's please acknowledge Zhao, Gwen, and Roberto in the chat for their wonderful leadership over so many months. When I talk to leaders in other divisions, they're always so complimentary of all STR is doing. And we know the Stronger Together task force is a big reason for this. You really have given us an abundance of memories and special professional development opportunities. Thank you, Zhao and Gwen and Roberto. You launched 8 research symposia, 13 Meet the Scholar sessions, and 3 PhD network shops for 70 students on the market. Our teaching committee put together a fabulous symposium on online teaching. Thanks to you for this great session. And we should recognize our departing committee members, Jada, Jennifer, and Peter. Thanks so much for your wonderful service. Thanks also to our Membership Engagement Committee for helping to build a sense of belonging and community during these extraordinarily trying times. Talk about creative. They were amazing. Let me tell you about what they did. But before I do, let's give a virtual applause for Vivian, Andy, and Andrea, whose term expires. Thanks for your committed service to the committee and the division. So the Membership Engagement Committee, they hosted 11 cultural cafes where each gathering is focused on people from a common region and language, which is often spoken during the cafes. Small groups like this are an essential building block for any any future we want STR to help create. They hosted 5 writing retreats. We had huge turnouts at these events. A special shout out to Eunice Ray, the mastermind behind this initiative, and to Lisa Tang and Vivian Wu for helping with the last retreat around writing for non-English speaking scholars. Shelby Guy focused on building community and mental health through exercise. Each week in November, she encouraged members to post about a run or a bike or a bike ride or a yoga class. David Clough was the mastermind behind 2 TV trivia pub nights. It was tons of fun for me, even if I was reminded how bad I am at trivia. Andy Wu gets the assist here. Shelby, Caterina Maschieri, Nicholas Poggioli, and I launched the Career Path Initiative, which focuses on illuminating career paths alternative to being a professor. Supply is outstripping demand in academic positions, and we need to do more to help our PhD students have alternatives. Moreover, we wonder why it should be perceived as a bad outcome when our students go to policy positions or consulting or non-governmental organizations or companies. We need more connections to these types of organizations, not less. We had over 80 people at our first meeting last month, so we may be tapping into something important. And Shelby also launched the Asian Americans in Business Academics. This is a much needed effort to help our colleagues cope with discrimination in my country. Way to go, Shelby. All these efforts are complemented by our communication strategy. We have done a lot in the past 18 months around improving our website and social media presence. Tons of videos have been added to our YouTube channel, and we recently converted these to be available to our Chinese colleagues on Bilibili. We now have podcasts on all the major sites. We opened a few new social media channels, Instagram and LinkedIn. You can see the impact in the numbers. Please connect with STR on social media and check out our ever-expanding online resources. So many thanks to our fabulous cadre of communicators and the outstanding progress that you're making. AOM requires a report every 5 years. So this was a big effort that was completed largely due to Ram and Metin, who spent a lot of time developing a survey and crafting our report. Thanks to you both. We are all super grateful. The report has 4 parts to it. You have access to it there. We reviewed division accomplishments over 5 years. We listed potential priorities for the next 5 years. We assessed division metrics and we surveyed members. The survey revealed some interesting feedback, and here's a few tidbits. First, the membership confirmed that we're doing some things well. A strong sense of community was mentioned frequently. We'd be interested to hear your thoughts on what you like best about STR in the chat if you have time. Second, we still have work ahead of us. Not everyone feels included. Also, there's a pronounced desire for more teaching support. Finally, it's clear that in a steady state, our membership wants more of our effort attending to non-conference initiatives. Over 86% want somewhere between 25 and 50% of our programming outside the annual conference. A final major initiative was expanding our global reach. And as you know, there are many members or potential members unable to attend or choosing not to attend their annual conference. So our effort here is really designed to have a broader impact by catering to underrepresented regions. Impact might be achieved by increasing understanding of quality research or providing training and materials for teaching, or increasing diversity of our membership, or enhancing connectedness, which multiplies the impact of these efforts. Certainly our virtual efforts play into aspirations for global outreach. And as noted earlier, our online research and teaching materials have multiplied. We believe the global reps are a big way to enhance global outreach. And one of their responsibilities is to support and encourage activities and initiatives within their regions. So we approached them at the beginning of our term and asked if their regions might benefit from virtual research workshops. All were enthusiastic. The reps really seized this opportunity to serve the division in their regions while enhancing their own networks. A fabulous example of leadership by these reps. And they were aided tremendously by Elena Vidal, the EC liaison to this group. Thanks so much, Elena, for all your work. A big shout out to our global reps, and let's recognize our departing reps, Carlos and Mike. Thanks for making the world a better and smaller place with your service. Please stay involved in STR. STR, with the help of the global reps, hosted 3 regional paper development workshops this year. Michael Leatherby launched us off in January. And you may recall that under Samina's leadership, this was supposed to be an in-person meeting workshop in the spring of 2020 in Santiago, Chile. I was super excited to go, but we converted it to virtual and had a wonderful workshop. Entirely new efforts were launched in other parts of the world. Wei-Ting Zheng hosted a fabulous workshop in Oceania, and Remzi just hosted a workshop in Turkey. These 3 workshops took a lot of effort and coordination. They were multi-day events, involved a cadre of great faculty mentors, as you can see, and a lot of participants to manage and recruit. The feedback was great. Participants were ecstatic. Thanks so much, Wei-Ting, Mike, and Remzi. There's another workshop scheduled in South America for January 2022, and STR is working with global rep Junman Lee to host weekly brown bag research series in Korea. We truly believe that these smaller workshops are critical for building community in such a large division, and the global reps will certainly play an increasingly important role in our efforts to serve. A huge shout out to the executive committee. All the things I've discussed would not have been possible without you. The officers leaned heavily on you and you delivered. It's really been an honor to work with you, and a special thanks to those completing their 2-year term. Elena, Felipe, Goli, Ha, Zhao, and John. Your leadership and awesome work over these past 2 years has really been incredible. I mean it. We were hit hard by this pandemic, and your efforts really led us through this beautifully. Surely you deserve a special place in the annals of our division. We look forward to being led by you soon. So as interested members, we hope you now feel informed about the state of our division and the initiatives prioritized over the last year. We hope that you're proud to be part of this progress, and we hope you see how we're transitioning to a new normal where we attend the members' needs throughout the year, not just for a 5-day conference in August. This is going to require continued adaptation in our organization and effort, but we think we're off to a good start. We hope you see how how we're actively seeking to expand our global footprint. Increased diversity will create opportunity for all. There remains a lot we could do better. Finding a sustainable cadence for our non-conference initiatives, managing diversity in all our events, managing workloads of our leaders by tapping into enthusiastic others, and understanding the right level and form of communication has been a challenge. So these certainly represent exciting opportunities going forward, and we hope you choose to help shape these opportunities. Okay, I will pass the mic to my friend Michael Leiblein, who has worked so hard and capably in putting together a fantastic conference program. Thank you. Michael, I'm going to give you the control.
I can now control Tim's screen, I believe. So it is my pleasure to share with everyone the program chair report. My part of this presentation is quite brief. I just essentially wish to thank everyone on the EC who helped us out put the program together. And I will give you a couple of highlights of this year's main program. Just as a refresher, this is out of our objectives. You know, I just wanted to remind everyone of the division's distinctive contribution in our community in how we're advancing strategic management research and knowledge dissemination and championing the efforts of our field more broadly. So in putting together the program, a huge thanks goes to Felipe, Cinciana, and Ha. These were the 3 EC members who worked with me throughout the year to pull everything together. None of this could have been done without the 3 of them. They were tremendous assets. Please thank them in the chat for all their effort this past year. In addition to Felipe, Ha, and Cincy, we had some fantastic program track chairs. You see Felipe's name again. He felt deeply about bringing together and organizing some of these tracks. So he was in charge of behavioral strategy process and change. Andrew Boyson helped us out with competitive strategy and heterogeneity tracks. Ariana with the cooperative strategy track. Harsh with the corporate and international strategy track. Felipe again in knowledge and innovation. Jin Hyung in stakeholder and non-market strategy. My colleague and friend Andrea with strategic entrepreneurship, and Viv Guo with strategic leadership and corporate governance. These folks all contributed mightily to what we were able to put together for this year's program. We also, and this is, I was stunned by the number and quality of folks who were able to help up as trusted reviewers. As some of you may understand, oftentimes we have a need for emergency reviewers after going through the main review process. So I was fortunate this year to pull together a fantastic group that helped us with a couple of emergency reviews in a very short period of time to help us put together the main program. So again, thanks to all of these trusted reviewers. I relied on each of you and appreciate your help. So let me share, I'm going to just share 2 main slides that give us some data on the main program. We did have 740 submissions this year, as you see, broken down between papers and symposia. As I'm bulleting out, that number is down quite a bit, roughly 25%. But this is actually, in some sense, good news. Our decline was less severe than several other divisions in the academy. We did make up for that a little bit. We were able to run a full program this year as compared to the sort of constrained program that we had last year by increasing the acceptance rate. The academy set a cap at 65% acceptance rate this year. Normally, it would probably bounce between 45, 55%. This year in STR, we accepted just under 60% of the papers submitted to the division. And we accepted just under 75% of the symposia submitted to the division. Our submissions remains largely outside of the US. 64% of them were outside the US, relatively stable. and a slightly less diverse set of countries. We had submissions from 41 countries this year as compared to 51 in the past. The other piece of data I'll share you regards our reviewer engagement. The news was a little bit more positive this year. We did have roughly just under 1,100 reviewers, 1,077. This was a decline similar to the number of submissions, but what benefited us this year is the relatively high percentage of reviews that were completed. We had 90% of our reviews completed on time this year, as compared to roughly 75% in the past. So we did a little bit better as a division there, and I hope you will all help Louise by signing up to review for the division next year and completing those reviews. I know that will be fantastic for her. So that's the main report for the main program. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have in the chat, and we'll move on to Louise.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Michael. And let's not forget to thank our program chair this year, Michael Leiblein, for putting together an exciting program and for all your last minute efforts behind the scenes to make sure that everything's been working smoothly. Michael, I also want to personally thank you for your help and guidance that you provided during my first year working as an STR officer. We are all really grateful for your contribution, and just like Samina, to recognize your service to the division, you're going to receive a plaque in the mail after the conference. Okay, let's see if I can move forward here. So I want to move on now to my report on the PDW program. Let's see, the submissions this year were down 15% from last year. But as Michael mentioned, this year we actually ran a full program. So this year we also had all 5 consortia running, and we had 23 PDW sessions. The virtual format meant that some of the consortia have run in shorter format than they would in person, but the other PDWs have run almost as normal. And there have been a number of exciting PDW sessions. I hope that you've looked in on some of them already. Covering topics from theoretical perspectives, phenomenon-based sessions, research methods, teaching PDWs. And STR has also co-sponsored 58 PDWs. For those of you who are thinking about submitting to PDWs to STR next year, I'd like you just to remind you that we emphasize the fit and relevance to STR, but also the developmental element is really important in this part of the program. So do think about that. I want to move on now to thanking all the organizers of the PDWs, and in particular the co-chairs of the consortia, and also our invited workshops for their enormous work putting together great sets of panelists and also an exciting program. So let me start by thanking the STR Dissertation Consortium organizers, Louise Ballesteros and Vanessa Babano, and for the STR Doctoral Consortium, Ishin Gula and Metin Senghor. Thank you very much. I hope you'll all thank them in the chat. Thanks also to the new faculty consortium organizers, Kenneth Thwang and Maka Mohan, the Mid-Career Consortium, Daphne Yu and Srikant Paruchuri, and the junior faculty teaching consortium, Giada Di Stefano and John Maudsley. Thank you so much for organizing great consortia. Some of the consortia ran pre-conf, even before the conference started, and we have the other 3 consortia that you see on the slide are running on Wednesday on the consortia day of the Academy. I also want to just shout out to the workshop organizers of the Junior Faculty Paper Development Workshop, Nell Dutt, Aaron Cohen-Molivo, Sri Jandala and Bruno Cirillo. For the Teaching Strategy Online workshops, Peter Merman and Vijaya Narapareddy have organized 2 great workshops. And then the Managing Your Dissertation workshop by Marco Testoni, who won last year's dissertation award. Let's see, that's my slide. Nothing's happening. Oops, now I'm going. Sorry. If I can go backwards here. Sorry.
Okay, I can't speak that quickly.
No, it's because I'm sorry.
Okay, there's no surprises. We don't like surprises.
Something's happening.
We're all tired of surprises. Don't go too far.
I'm trying to go backwards, but nothing is happening.
Okay.
If you just want to retake control and
let me take control.
Can we retake control and go back? Because I wasn't quite done. I had one last slide.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were trying to pass it off to me. Okay.
I would like to pass on to Heather, but before that, we had to go back. Can you go backwards a bit?
Yeah, I'm trying. Okay, where are we going?
Back further, back further. There. There. So I wanted also just to thank the Global Rex organizers, Obi Damoa, Ramsey, Gorsubayuk, Junman Lee, and Waiting Sheng. Thank you very much for organizing that workshop. And then if you could move on to my last slide, please, Tim. I want to extend a particular thank you to EC member Guoli Chen for his work on the best paper selection process. Thank you, Guoli, for your efforts and your service to the division. It was really a pleasure to work with you on this process. So now I'd like to turn the presentation over to Division Chair-elect Heather Berry.
Okay, thank you so much. And, you know, Michael and Louise, we've all been doing so many things and you guys have been doing more than we have. So clearly the leadership team is tired and we all need a slight break from Zoom, I think is what's on display here. All right, so Tim, please just keep control of that if you want to. Thank you very much. Okay, so this year, Division Chair-elect, I was in charge of overseeing all the awards. What a fantastic year. So Michael, you have something to look forward to next year. It's great seeing and just recognizing all of the fantastic people in our division in general, and then to highlight a couple, right? And so that's what I get to do this year. All right, next slide. So this is actually coming from Michael Leiblein, but rather than go back and forth several times, I'm just going to say for him, thank you very much to the outstanding reviewers from this year's program. So everyone on this was identified based on kind of several indicators, right? So completion, quality of reviews, some types of feedback from the authors. And all of these people we want to recognize as providing fantastic and constructive and helpful reviews. Michael and I started this last year. I hope it continues because we're not in person. Everyone on this list will get a digital certificate of thanks, a digital certificate saying, congratulations, Outstanding Reviewer Award. So you should expect to get that from Michael, assuming he can find your public email. But thank you very much to everyone on this list. I'm not going to read out every name, but hopefully we've been on this slide long enough that you can recognize some of these people and thank them. All right, next slide. Okay, I got to work with the awards committee this year. First, I want to shout out to Lourdes Sosa, who was assigned to me. She's an EC member, and she was instrumental in helping to have these award processes go forward. So I want to thank Mary, Stefano, Rita, Joe, Anita, Jan, Mary, Govert, and Marguerite for being on the awards committee this year. They are the folks who determined who won the Irwin Award and who won the Guth Award. All right, next slide. So first I want to talk a little bit about the Irwin Outstanding Educator Award. We have an Irwin Educator Award every year. The award flips between recognizing folks who are excellent PhD and doctoral student mentors and folks who are excellent MBA executive education teachers. So this year, my year is the Doctoral Education Irwin Outstanding Educator Award. Next slide. So no surprise, because we actually had a session to honor and celebrate Ed on Saturday, but Ed Zajac is the winner of this year's 2021 Irwin Outstanding Educator Award. Next slide. I think many of us know Ed, but for those of you who don't, Ed is a professor at the Kellogg School of Management. He's been around for a long time. I met Ed a long time ago. He's been the chair or co-chair of more than 20 dissertation committees, in addition to being a committee member on a further 15 dissertation committees. And if we can go to the next slide, this will highlight a couple, the last 3 bullet points, highlight a couple of things that the nominating letter said about Ed. So if you're not familiar with this process, in the fall of 2020, the division chair-elect, me, sends out requests for people to nominate PhD educators. And so we get lots of nominations, and as I said, the awards committee goes through all those nominations and they pick the winner. What I like about this process particularly is seeing these nomination letters, right? They're clearly, Ed has had a huge impact on all of his students. Almost all of his students were participating in that nomination letter and gave individual comments on the effect that Ed has had on them. So I think from the session on Saturday, we got the sense from Ed's students that Ed is really available to his students 24/7. He gives them keys to his office. He sets them up with a desk in his home when they're co-authoring together, right? I think Ed is very invested in his students. And from that session on Saturday, I think we all got a sense for what that relationship looks like when Ed is mentoring his students. So congratulations, Ed. It was a fantastic session. All right, thank you. Next slide. The second award that I got to oversee was the Youth Distinguished Service Award. So this was endowed in 2018 and honors a scholar who has made outstanding career contributions to building and serving the field of strategic management. So Bill Guth was one of the founding members of this division, not named STR back then, but named after someone who had extraordinary service himself. All right, this has already been announced as well, but I hope you join me in congratulating Will Mitchell as the recipient of this year's Youth Distinguished Service Award. Next slide. So I think everyone knows Will. I actually first met Will at one of the BPS division consortia. And ever since then, I've communicated with Ed. He's always been helpful to me. I've always looked forward to seeing him at conferences. You know, it turns out he's also had a significant and sustained contribution for the rest of the members of the STR division. So, you know, for those of you who don't know Will, I think you probably do, but he's at the University of Toronto. He's been involved in so many aspects of both STR and SMS. You know, I'm sure you're familiar with with Will when he was co-editor of SMJ. You know, what was that, 7 or 8 years? As I said, he's participated in so many activities within the then BPS and the now STR division that I'm honored to recognize Will as the recipient of this year's Distinguished Service Award. So congratulations, Will. I see a lot of people making comments in the chat. Thank you very much on behalf of Will for doing that. Okay, next slide. So every other year, we also offer an Emerging Scholar Award. So this was created in 2017. It recognizes a promising scholar who has established a research record of exceptional quality, despite the fact that they've only been out a couple of years. So for this year, you had to have defended your dissertation after January of 2015. I actually called a special committee, we'll call it, next slide. So I want to thank that committee first. This was comprised of 3 former division chairs, Tammy Madsen, Brian Silverman, Jim Westfall. Thank you very much for your service. All of the nominations that I called were sent to them and they evaluated this to pick our winner for this year. Our winner is, next slide, Vanessa Bourbano. Vanessa, I believe you are here today, so I hope people will recognize you in the chat and congratulate you for this. Next slide. So Vanessa is an assistant professor at Columbia Business School. I would like to read one of the comments from someone who nominated her. One of Vanessa's supporters offered the following: Vanessa is at the forefront of young scholars using experimental methods and strategy, and she has raised the bar of empirical evidence in non-market strategy research. So we recognize Vanessa for this Emerging Scholar Award. We look forward to continuing to see her publish and be part of our STR division going forward. Congratulations, Vanessa. All right, I think I hand it off to Louise to do the Best Paper Awards.
All right, and Tim, if you could please just stay in charge of the slides. I will now reveal the Best Paper Award winners, but before I do so, I want to extend a warm thank you to the research committee members for their excellent reviews of best papers. If you could move to that next slide, Tim. Thank you everyone for your efforts and also for helping Wooly and I make decisions in their process. Colleen Cunningham, Manuela Horn-Weiss, Anne Shakmine, Shvedvia Jandala, Daniel Keum, Philip Meyer Doyle, Abhishek Nagaraj, Anand Nankumar, Ivana Naumoska, Joe Raffi, Jordan Siegel, and Dan Wang. Thank you so much. So we're going to start with the STR track paper award winners. And let me just say that there were so many amazing papers that we saw in this process. And as I read out the papers, feel free to congratulate the winners in the chat. All right, so if you could reveal the first paper award winner for the Behavioral Strategy Process and Change track. The paper is called Feedback Fog, an Effective Guide, the Interplay of CEO Effective Traits, Ambiguous Performance Feedback, and Firm Risk-Taking. And it's written by Yu-Shun Shu, John Kim, and John Joseph. Congratulations, everyone. Next paper, please. The Competitive Strategy and Heterogeneity best paper is called Psychology of Resource Pricing Decisions in Strategic Factor Markets by Ikpe Koparan and Federico Aim. Congratulations. Next track, please. Is the Cooperative Strategy. Can alliance substitute acquisition? The evidence from a natural experiment by Jamin Lee and John Manley. Congratulations to the winners. And next track is Corporate and International Strategy paper. Here the best paper is called CEO Power Motive and Propensity for Real Option Strategy. Evidence from New Industry Entry Mode Choice between Acquisition and Corporate Venture Capital, written by Boshuo Lee. Congratulations. Next track is the Knowledge and Innovation and Strategic Human Capital. This paper is titled The Value of Commitment for Strategic Decision-Making, Evidence from a Field Experiment by Elena Novelli and Chiara Spina. Next track. Strategy paper is Who Pays When Activists Attack, Activist Institutional Ownership and Employee Safety. Whoops. Back. By Chung-Woo Xia and Philip Meyer Doyle. That's fine. You can go down a bit. Next track, please. Strategic Entrepreneurship. The paper is Pivot Rules for Overconfident Entrepreneurs. And if you go down, it's written by John Chen, Daniel Elfenbein, Hart Posen, and Ming-Shu Wang. And the last track is Strategic Leadership and Corporate Governance. The paper is Forecasting as a Problem of Cognitive Search, Experimental Evidence from Forecasting of Tournaments in the Context of the Audio Industry by Rahul Kapoor and Daniel Wild. Congratulations to all the winners. Well done, really great papers. I hope you'll look them up on the program. You're all going to receive your plaques in the mail, so I'm going to chase you for some mailing addresses. All right, we're going to move on to the Bill Glock Best Paper Award. This award is provided for the submission judge to be the best paper submitted to the refereed scholarly program, and it's supported by friends and former students of Bill Glock, the 35th president of the Academy of Management. Okay, you can move on to the next slide, please. This year's winner is the paper There's No Planet B, Stakeholder Governance that Aligns Incentives to Preserve the Amazon Rainforest, written by Anita McGann and Leandro Pongilupe. Congratulations. This is really an exciting paper on a timely and relevant topic, and I just want to read briefly, if you can move back, please, Tim, some of the things that the reviewers said about Anita and Leandro's paper. There's so much to like about this paper. It addresses an important question. The paper utilizes a cutting-edge set of empirical techniques for identification, and it also has a very nice integration with new stakeholder theory. And you actually have a chance to see this paper presented in paper session 1211, which starts right after this session. So congratulations to Anita. All right, the Ghoshal Award is the next award. One slide forward, please. The Samantha Ghoshal Award is awarded for the submission to the refereed scholarly program that's judged to be the best paper that advances research while deriving important implications for practice. And of course, as you know, the award honors the contributions to both research and practice made by Samantha Ghoshal, and those were also topics that were dear to him. So let's move on to see the winner. This year's winner is the paper Into the Great Unknown, When Expressing More Uncertainty Improves Entrepreneurial Financing Outcomes by Ivana Naumoska and Derek Harmon. Congratulations. This is a really interesting paper. The authors show that entrepreneurs may actually benefit from expressing uncertainty and in fact are more likely to secure financing when they do. And here's what some of the reviewers said about this paper: a novel articulation of how uncertainty can benefit entrepreneurial growth, the idea that communicating uncertainty can be and provocative. Another strength of the paper is the context and the data collection. The paper is going to be presented in session 1329 later today, so you still have a chance to see it. Congratulations to Ivana and Derek. Okay, next award is the Robert J. Licht's Best Doctoral Student paper. This paper was instituted in the memory of Professor Lichtert by his students and colleagues at Virginia Tech. Professor Lichtert was one of the early Academy members and also active in teaching and research in strategy and org theory. And he was very much loved by his legion of students, and many of those made significant contributions to the field. And so it's particularly appropriate that we give this award to a promising doctoral student, since Professor Lichtert considered the mentoring of his student his most important responsibility. All right, and this year's winner is the paper Think Before You Act, The Unintended Consequences of Inexpensive Business Experimentation by Saurabh Ghosh at Harvard University. And I'll just read some of the comments that were made from the reviewers about this paper. Probably one of the clearest explanations of how and why experimentation affects firm performance that develops new insights into the role of cognition and strategy. Excellent. Interesting data and natural experiment. This paper was presented in session 966, and there's a video available on the program if you missed it. So congratulations to Sarah, and please do join me in congratulating all the Best Paper Award winners. I'm going to get in touch with all of you, and you're going to receive very nice plaques that I unfortunately can't hand you in person. So you're going to get those in mail. And I'll now turn the presentation back to Heather.
Okay, thank you, and congratulations. This is so much fun giving awards. It loses a little when we're not in person, but it really is fun giving awards. It sounds like some fantastic work. I hope to look at some of these sessions. All right, the last thing that I oversaw this year was the Dissertation Award, the Best Dissertation Award. We just had a session right before this. I hope you were able to see part of that, but if not, it was recorded, and so you can revisit some of the best dissertation topics, and you can meet some of these people virtually. All right, next slide. So first, I want to thank the research committee. So these are the folks who did the heavy lifting. These are the folks who first read the summaries, the 10-page summaries of all 30 dissertations that were submitted, and they ranked them, and we got to the top 5. They then read the 5 full dissertations to come up with rankings of the best dissertation. All right, so Navid, Janet, John, Jillian, Alvaro, Eileen, Thomas, Ilze, Razvan, Paul, David T, George, David Z. Sorry, I think that. Thank you very much for all of your work this past spring. I could not have done this without your work, and I really want to recognize reading entire dissertations that aren't your own. That is a big commitment, and so we appreciate your service. Next slide. Okay, so there are 5 finalists that I want to recognize before telling you who won the Best Dissertation Award. So Stephen Downing is at University of Missouri. His dissertation topic is Competitive Myopia, Redressing Blind Spots in Inter-Industry Competition. Harsh Ketkar is at Bocconi. His dissertation topic is Essays on Organizing Human Capital, Automation, and Innovation. Hyunjin Kim is at INSEAD. Her dissertation topic is Field Experiments on the Barriers firms face in Realizing Gains from Data. Next slide, thank you. Ariana Marchetti is at the London Business School. Her dissertation topic is Organization Culture and Firm Performance. Elmontis Alubinskas, his dissertation topic was Entrepreneurial Firms and Non-Market Strategy, Lessons from the Drone Industry. So I think anyone who attended the session this morning saw that these were really fantastic dissertations. I look forward to seeing these published. I look forward to seeing these scholars be future leaders within the division. All right, now I want to say who has won the Best Dissertation Award for 2021. Next slide. Congratulations to Ariana Marchetti. All right, on the next slide, I have some comments that the reviewers gave to this dissertation. So I won't read all of them, but the top one, this dissertation addressed questions that are fundamentally important to our understanding of organizations and how they compete. Second comment, I find that the application of machine learning to Glassdoor reviews as a means to measure organizational culture is both novel and fully sensible. I wish I had thought of that, which is my way of saying I think the dissertation is fantastic. The last one, I think this is a nicely done, coherent, and cohesive piece of work that has the potential to make an important and much needed contribution to our understanding of the role of culture for strategy. So congratulations. I know it was a difficult decision across all of them, but congratulations to Ariana on a fantastic dissertation. We look forward to seeing these papers that you have published in journals going forward. All right, all 5 of you will get a plaque. I think you've already given your address to Louise, and Ariana, you get 2 plaques. You also get a winner plaque for this. All right. Is that the last? I think that's the last slide. So I'll hand it back to Tim, but please join me in the chat in congratulating all of the best dissertation finalists and Ariana as the winner.
Okay. Awards are fun, aren't they? Awesome. Congratulations to all the award winners. We're so pleased to be able to honor you, as Heather said and Louise said. Hey, before I pound the virtual gavel to end our meeting, we want to thank you for your active engagement in our division. Many people have contributed to the division that we were not able to recognize today. Please keep contributing or seek a way to get involved. Increasingly, we need your creativity and energy and intellect as we plan for the future of STR together. So thank you for attending, and we wish you a good rest of the Academy of Management meetings.